Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Unit 5, Day 3. Today, we are going to be solving multi-step equations. Now, we're going to continue what we've been doing over the last couple lessons, but in this lesson, we are actually going to be adding a few more steps, all right? And so, we're going to be learning how to solve multi-step equations. This time we might use the distributive property, combining like terms. There might be some fractions in there, as well as having a variable on both sides. And so there could be up to 4 steps in the equations. But as you will see, every time we are solving an equation, to solve it, we must do the inverse operation. Okay, so we got to remember that, right? When it gets time to solve it, we have to do the inverse operation. And also we need to keep in mind that whatever we do to one side of the equation, we must do to the other side. All right, so again, these are just 2 guiding principles for us to sort of keep in mind as we are solving them. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to do a problem, and then you're going to pause it and you're going to solve. And then I'm going to do a problem and you're going to pause and solve, and then I'm going to do a problem and you're going to pause and solve. All right, so here we go. The first one, we have 4 times the difference of x and 2 plus 2x equals 16. All right, and so whenever I have this 4 on the outside, I am going to distribute that. All right, so that is 4 times x, which gives me 4x. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. And then I'm just going to bring everything else down. So I got plus 2x equals 16. All right, so first thing I did was I distributed. Now, second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to combine the like terms. So like terms are when we have the same variable. So I have a 4x here and then a plus 2x there. Make sure you include the operation sign with it. And so then I'm going to combine those. So I'm going to combine only what's on the same side as the variable. I can't combine the negative 8 and the 16 because it's on different sides of the variable. Okay, so you could put this line just to help you keep them separate. And so then we're going to combine these. We have 6x minus 8 equals, all right, little malfunction there, equals 16. All right, and then once we get here, this is where we are solving this equation using the inverse operation. So we're going to get rid of this minus 8, which is to add 8. Whatever I do to one side, I must do to the other side of the equation. And that is going to cancel because that gives me 0 pairs. I got 6x equals 16 plus 8 is going to give me 24. Then I'm going to do the inverse because this is 6 times x. I'm going to divide by 6, and that cancels because that just gives me 1x, and I don't have to write the 1. And so that is x equals 24 divided by 6, and that is 4. All right, and that is my answer. Okay, hey, I just want to go ahead and mention this, and we're going to do this in upcoming lessons, but if I wanted to check this, I could put this into Desmos, right? This part of the expression, so the 4 times the difference of x minus 2 plus 2x, and then I put in x equals 4, and when I do that, it should give me 16, okay? And so that is a way to check your answer in Desmos. You know what? Let me just go ahead and show you that. You know what? For the sake of time, I'm not going to do that, all right? So just kidding. All right, so pause and solve. I want you to pause the video, and I want you to attempt to solve this problem on your own. All right. Hey, hopefully you paused it and solved it because you need to know how to do this on your own. So I'm just going to go over and check it. I'm going to start by distributing that. 2 times x is going to give me 2x. 2 times negative 4 is going to give me a negative 8. Plus 3x equals 12. Okay, so now I'm going to combine the 3x's. That's going to give me 5x minus 8 equals 12. Now I'm going to get rid of the minus 8 by doing the inverse operation. Those cancel because of 0 pairs. 12 plus 8 is 20. Now I'm going to divide by the 5, divide by the 5. The 5's cancel because it's just 1 equals 20 divided by 5, and that is 4. All right. So just coincidence, they won't always equal 4, obviously. All right. Now we got a fraction in the mix. All right. Still going to do the same steps. We're going to distribute this fraction. So we got 1/4 times 4. Okay. If you don't know how to do that, you can put it into decimals. But 1/4 times 4 is going to give me just 1x. And I really don't have to write that 1, so it's just x. 1/4 times 8 is going to give me 2. So we got plus 2. Then I'm just bringing everything else down. All right. And so now I get here, I'm going to combine my like terms. This time I don't have multiple variables, but I do have this plus 2 and this plus 2, and those are both constants, so I can put those together. And when I do so, I got x plus 4 equals 10. Now, in order to solve the equation, to get the x by itself, I'm going to do the inverse operation. Minus 4, minus 4. The 4's are going to cancel, leaving me with x equals 10 minus 4, and that gives me 6. All right. All right, so I want you to pause it and see if you can solve the next one on your own. Be sure to use sort of this one as an example. All right, hopefully you've paused it, because that's the only way you're gonna actually learn, and how to understand this is to actually practice on your own. All right, so 1/2, I'm going to distribute the 1/2. Half of 6 is 3x. Half of 5 is 5. I'm sorry, half of 10 is 5, so plus 5. Then we got plus 2 equals 19. All right. Then we're going to combine these like terms, the 5 and the 2. Those are both constants. Then we got 3x plus 5 plus 2 is 7 equals 19. All right. Now I got to get the x by itself, so I'm going to do the inverse operation. Whatever I do on one side, I got to do to the other. These cancel due to 0 pairs. Now I have 3x equals 19 minus 7, which is 12. Now this one has an additional step. I have to get the x by itself by dividing by 3. Dividing by 3. 3's cancel because that just gives me 1. And I have 1x equals 12 divided by 3, which is 4. All right. And now we have one last set of examples that we're going to work through together. All right. And so in this one, now we have an x on both sides. Okay. And so this is, we've not seen any like this. And so this is a different step. And so what we're going to have to do when we do that is we got to get all of the x's on one side. Okay. Now we did do this when we were modeling, with algebra tiles, but this is the first time we've seen a concrete example. So what we have to do here is we have to move all the variables on one side and all the numbers on the other side. Because again, we're still trying to get the x by itself. And you could do this a couple different ways. Sometimes, people like to move the x on the side where it is the biggest, right? So they say, okay, which x is biggest? 2x or negative 2x? Well, it would be the positive 2x. I'm always going to encourage you to just move the x on the front, in the front, okay? I could move the x on either side because they're equations, right? I can keep them balanced. I can do whatever. So I could get the x by itself on this side if I wanted to. But often we just read it from left to right with the x in the front. So that's what you're going to see me do. But you don't have to do that. You could move it to the other side if you wanted to, and you still would get the same answer. All right? So I'm always going to move all of my x's to the left side. All right? So to do that now, again, to move it, I got to do the inverse operation. So I got to do plus 2x because I'm trying to get all of the x's on this side. Okay, so I'm adding 2x. I'm doing the opposite to move it. And then I want to also move the numbers to the other side because I want to get rid of those. So I'm going to do the opposite to get rid of the plus 10, and I'm going to do minus 10 over here, right? And so when I do that, this positive 10 and this negative 10 is going to cancel out. 2x plus 2x is going to give me 4x equals this opposite, it's negative 2x plus and a positive 2x is going to cancel, and I got negative 14 minus 10, and that's going to give me a negative 24, okay? And now I want to get the x by itself. I'm going to divide by 4, divide by 4. The 4's are going to cancel, leaving me with x equals negative 24 divided by 4, and that gives me a negative 6, all right? All right, I want you to pause it, and I want you to attempt to solve this last one on your own. All right, so again, I could move this 4x over here, or I can move the 2x over here. Again, I told you I like to move all of the x's on this one side, on the left side, but you could do it the opposite way, all right? So we're gonna add 2x, we're gonna add 2x, okay? And then I'm gonna subtract 10 and subtract 10 so that I can move that to the other side, all right? So 4x plus 2x is gonna give me 6x, okay? These 10s are gonna cancel because they form 0 pairs. The negative 2x and the positive 2x is gonna cancel, leaving me with negative 18. Negative 8 minus 10 gives me negative 18. Then to get the x by itself, I'm gonna divide by 6, divide by 6. Those 6's cancel because they just give me 1. Negative 18 divided by 6 gives me negative 3, and that is my answer there. All right, and so guys, just to summarize real quick, this is sort of a checklist for solving multi-step equations. Listen, sometimes you won't necessarily do all of these, right? So if you distribute, if you have to, combine like terms, if you have to, move the variable on one side, if you have to. And then, you will probably always have to add or subtract, multiply or divide. Obviously here you're doing the inverse operation of whatever you have, okay? And so, guys, these are just some steps to kind of help guide you. Just a funny way to remember this, you might hear me say this, you might not. Don't call me after midnight is one way to kind of remember these steps, right? Don't call me after midnight, all right? Oh, just kidding. Don't call me after midnight. Yep. So again, and I got a really funny video that I might post in the link of this video that might take you to that to see a super kind of cringy video, but it can get in your head and really help you remember sort of these steps. All right. So guys, that is it for this video. For the remainder, you can just do the example problems on your own. In this lesson, we have learned to solve multi-step equations. And so let me know if you have any questions. Hey, comment, like, subscribe, do all of those things. Happy studying.